There was a moment back in 2019 when it appeared that former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz was going to run for president as an independent in 2020. He suggested his campaign would be funded by his own personal fortune. He hired high-profile consultants like Steve Schmidt and Bill Burton. But his nascent presidential bid flamed out incredibly fast. I mean, record time, really. And after that, two things happened. Schultz returned to Starbucks as an interim CEO in 2022. And the labor movement at Starbucks broke through after decades of not having a single unionized shop in the entire country. After the first win for Starbucks Workers United in Buffalo in 2021, more than 270 other stores followed suit and unionized. But Starbucks, under Schultz, has been fighting unionization tooth and nail. Judges have found the company has broken federal labor law 130 times. All that teed up today's anticipated showdown between one of the most pro-labor members of the U.S. Senate, Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, who chairs the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and Schultz, who was interim CEO until earlier this month and who came to testify about Starbucks labor practices.
Have you ever threatened, coerced, or intimidated a worker for supporting a union?
I've had conversations that could have been interpreted in a different way than I intended.
Have you ever asked the Starbucks worker, quote, if you hate Starbucks so much, why don't you go work somewhere else?
I'm glad you asked that question because I've read in the press that quote, and that's not exactly what I said.
Joining me now is Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, the chair of that committee. Senator, why was it important for you to have this hearing today and to have Howard Schultz there?
Well, a couple of reasons, Chris. First of all, it's important for the people of this country to understand that everybody has got to obey the law, even if you are a billionaire and the head of a large multinational corporation like Starbucks. And what Starbucks has done under Schultz's leadership is basically break the law, and they have absolute confidence they can get away with it. Who cares? They're rich, they're powerful. What is anyone going to do to them? So today was a reminder that billionaires and corporate leaders are going to have to obey the law. Second point is, at a time when the middle class and working class of this country are struggling, workers in large numbers are now saying, you know what, we need better wages, better health care, better working conditions, better scheduling. We are going to come together and form unions, not just at Starbucks, but all over this country. We're seeing a huge uptick in labor organizing. If Starbucks is able to crush that union movement because they break the law and refuse to negotiate a first contract, it will have a very chilling effect on workers all over this country who are standing up and fighting back. That's why the hearing was important.
So I want to follow up on that because, there's two things always happening in labor law. One is violations of labor law, which often don't get punished, right? And people are able to break it. And then the labor law itself not being sufficiently strong. You just mentioned something that's been a real problem across the country, unionizing efforts in which the union wins recognition, whether through voluntary recognition or through a union election, and then finds themselves stonewalled on that first contract. Right. What does the law say about that?
Well, the law is very weak. So if you are a smart executive like Mr. Schultz who wants to break a union, what you do is you stall and stall and stall. You refuse to negotiate. What's even worse is there are instances where people it just takes them forever to negotiate a first contract. And you have workers who give up, turnover is very high, and that's how they were able to defeat unions. Now, all of that, your point is well taken, and that is why we need strong labor law reform, which is what the PRO Act is about, which says that if you violate labor law, you know what? You're going to get fined. You're going to get punished. If you don't sign a first contract within a reasonable period of time, you're going to get fined. You're going to get punished. No, you cannot take workers into a back room and threaten them. That's illegal. You will be punished for that. So we need that strong labor law to give strength to workers and support to workers who are fighting for their dignity on the jobs.
Yeah, just to be clear, they're like punishment, recrimination, intimidation about someone's union support is flatly illegal under the Wagner Act, National Labor Relations Act. But extending contract time isn't, right? That's right now. That's under the law. To your point about the PRO Act, I want to play something that your colleague Mitt Romney said about a conflict of interest that he alleged that you and other Democrats Democrats on the hearing had and give you a chance to respond to that. Take a listen to what Senator Romney said.
It's somewhat rich that you're being grilled by people who have never had the opportunity to create a single job. And yet they believe that they know better how to do so. I also think it's rich to not recognize the extraordinary conflict of interest we have, which is our Democratic colleagues overwhelmingly get their campaign funds from unions and therefore would like to find every possible way to extend unions.
What do you say to that allegation of conflict?
Well, I find it amazing that people who refuse to overturn Citizens United, who get elected by super PACs, which in an undisclosed way raise money from a handful of billionaires, is talking about, candidates who get their money from labor unions. Second of all, I think, what Romney was trying to do, which is what other Republicans were trying to do, because they have nothing real to say about the issue, is to deflect attention from one simple fact. Should a large company be able to get away with breaking the law and making it impossible for workers to exercise their constitutional rights to form a union? That was the issue of this hearing, and unfortunately Romney and some of the other Republicans had nothing relevant to say about that.